We are counting down the top 5 ways Jodi Arias is similar to Casey Anthony. Number 5, all the sexual testimony in both of their murder trials. Number 4, all the admitted lies both murder defendants told during their case. Number 3, the fact that both women find themselves so hated by the public. That brings us to number 2 on the countdown, the makeovers. Yeah, both Casey and Jodi drastically changed their looks from bombshell to plain when they went to trial. I want to bring back HLN's Mike Galanos. He, of course, anchors HLN's live courtroom coverage of the Arias trial every day here on HLN, and Jane Velez-Mitchell, whose trial coverage can be seen weeknights on the Jane Velez-Mitchell Show, 7 p.m. Eastern here on HLN. So, Jane, there is a clear difference between Jodi and Casey's glamorous images before their arrests and, of course, how they looked once the cameras were on and the trials were televised nationally. It was intentional, right?
There must be a shop that sells pastel shirts with collars for women accused of murder, because they both, it looks like they're shopping from the same clothing rack. The only thing is that Jodi Arias decided to add on some glasses, which, by the way, she takes off to read, which I kind of find unintentionally hilarious, although this is a very tragic case. And Casey Anthony's probably, darn, why didn't I think of the glasses? Although it turns out she didn't need them. It's such an obvious makeover to librarian.
It is interesting. The removal of the glasses almost bring a little levity to really such a horrific trial. Mike, if Jodi Arias and Casey Anthony weren't young, attractive women, do you think their cases would have become the national obsessions they did become? I've heard people debate this time and time again.
I think there'd be high interest, but national obsession, no, because of what you just said, the horrific murders. Let's take Jodi Arias, for example. You see her and this frail look that she likes to portray in court with the glasses and the bangs, and then you see, if I'm not sure if everybody's seen the crime scene photos, they're brutal. How could that girl do that? That adds to the intrigue, and the same with Casey Anthony. You see her, attractive young woman, and she's accused of murdering her little 2-year-old. That certainly adds to the intrigue.
And people just can't seem to get enough once again with the Arias trial, as we saw with Casey Anthony. That brings us to the big reveal, number 1 on our Showbiz Countdown of the similarities between the Jodi Arias and Casey Anthony trials, the uncertainty of the outcomes. Look, if you can flash yourself back, nobody knew how the Casey Anthony jury was going to vote, and there was a huge amount of shock across the nation when she was acquitted. Jane, you and I have talked about this, and the very same thing may very well happen with Jodi Arias. We just don't know.
You don't know what's going on in the jurors' minds. And it turned out with Casey Anthony, everybody, all the talking heads, all the experts were wrong, because everybody thought she was going to get convicted. So I've tried not to make the same mistake and sort of, let's take a look at both sides and debate it, because the jury is seeing this case with a totally different lenses on than the general public. We know so much more about the dirty tricks, as it were. So can the jurors essentially be fooled by the narrow scope of the information they have? That is unclear at this time.
Mike, I remember when the Casey Anthony verdict was read, it almost felt like a Hollywood film with the greatest plot twist and surprise ending you could have imagined. And we are seeing exactly the same thing. And now we're all hanging on at the edge of our seat, waiting to see if we're going to get a surprise ending once again.
It could happen again, and it's because of what we said and have said. She had a chance to seduce that jury for 8 days before the prosecutor got a hold of her, and now she's trying it again. She's answering every question, appealing to the jury that she's frail, she's weak, she was abused by this bad man, Travis Alexander. Could it work again? We'll see.
And we will certainly be continuing to watch every single step of the way. Jane Velez-Mitchell, Mike Galanos, thank you both so much. And, of course, you must catch Mike anchoring HLN News Now. That's weekdays starting at 12 noon. And be sure to catch Jane Velez-Mitchell. She's got complete coverage weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on HLN. Thanks again, guys.